Hello everyone, what is up? It is me, AlbyMTG. For today's video, we'll be opening up another thing that I bought on eBay. This one is going to be a little bit different than the one that we opened up in the last video. The last one, we bought a collection for really cheap. We opened up the entire collection, saw what value we could get out of it. This one, I already know what cards are in there, like the entire thing, but it's a sealed product from an old thing that Wizard of the Coast used to sell. So I think it's going to make for a pretty fun video. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to go ahead and open up the package here now. And this should be, like I said, a pretty fun video. When I was doing the research to see how long it's been since someone has opened up one of these here on YouTube, it was about 7 years, over 7 years since the last one of these has been opened up here on YouTube. But it's a very cool little thing here, and I wish that I could open it up properly. That would be fantastic. There we go. Alright, my apologies, we've got it open now. You guys can see all the bubble wrap in here, very nicely packaged. So what we're opening up here, again, is something that no one has opened up here on YouTube in over 7 years. I got it for an extremely cheap price for what it's worth. On YouTube, or on eBay, I apologize, on eBay, and you guys can see it here, nice and bubble wrapped. I don't know if you guys can tell what it is quite yet, but actually you can probably tell from the title of the video, but oh well, we're gonna go ahead and open this up here. But yeah, it's been quite a while since one of these has been opened here, and it's not too much of a difference between the price and me just holding on to it, keeping it sealed, versus just opening it up. So we're going to go ahead and open it up here on the channel. Once I can get through all of this bubble wrap here, slowly but surely. And there we go. Alright, so the product we are looking at today is going to be an event deck from Mirrodin Besieged. Mirrodin Besieged came out in, let's see if I can find a year on here. It's definitely been a while. Mirrodin Besieged, I would assume 7 years ago, because that's when the last video was uploaded, and people were, when I watched the videos, that's when people were saying it was coming out. So, about 7 years ago, this video, or this product here came out. You guys can see here, it is a mono red event deck. Many of you guys will know these more now as challenger decks. They're basically just the same thing with a different name. And during Mirrodin Besieged, they came out with 2 of them. One was this one that we're going to open up here, and then the other one was an infect deck, but it was like a black-blue infect deck, something like that. And also, when I went to open up this the package from the box, I broke the pen that I was using to try and open it. I couldn't find my scissors that I used in the last video, but we're going to go ahead and open this up here now, and we'll see what goodies await us inside. And I'll show you guys at the end of the video I'll show you guys how I got the product too. I'll just show you guys the eBay listing in general so that you guys can see how much I paid for it and all that other kind of stuff. So a very cool little box here with the Mirrodin Besieged event deck. It's got one of those little slide ones, so we can slide it to the side to get it out of this little sleeve here, and then it reveals this nice box here that says Mirrodin Besieged on it. We can put our little signal pest sleeve over there, and then when we open up the box, you'll see there are a few different compartments here, 2 little compartments. This one here with a D20 in it. I believe it has the Mirrodin Besieged symbol on it, so we'll bring that up here to the camera. Yep, Mirrodin Besieged symbol on here. And then we've got the goodies in here. So we've got the cool little box. We'll just put that to the side for now. So you'll see we've got sort of a little divider thing in here. We have 2 little guides here. We have this one, which is just your basic, how to play Magic guide, essentially. And then this one here, which is for the event deck itself, Into the Breach is the official name for the deck. It's got a nice little signal pest poster on it here. Has the entire layout of the deck, how to play the deck, how to sideboard with the deck, all this other kind of stuff here. So cool little thing to have there. And then we have the main deck here, which you can see a Memnite on it already, and then we have the sideboard that's included with it as well. The main board is significantly more exciting, so we're going to start off with the sideboard. Basically, the deck is like a mono-red aggressive deck that used to be legal in Standard during Mirrodin Besieged Standard. it was a very solid deck. Had a little bit of an artifact sub theme to it, and again, these are kind of like the challenger decks, so they're not perfect tier 1 decks, but they've got a lot of decent cards in here that could maybe get you to start putting together a tier 1 standard deck. So we've got some unstable footings here. Damage can't be prevented this turn, and then you can kick it to deal some damage. So it looks like one copy of that. This one, great little pickup here. We've got 4 copies of Searing Blaze, fantastic for Modern, and of course was quite good in Standard as well. So a full play set of Searing Blaze on the sideboard. We have 2 copies here of Active Treason, steal your opponent's creatures. We have an Into the Core, which is 4 mana for an instant, exile 2 artifacts, so some artifact hate to have in your sideboard. A full playset of the Goblin Ruin Blaster, which has haste. It's a 2/1 for 3 mana here, and then has haste and then the kicker of 1. And when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it destroy target non-basic land. So this was pretty big because, as you can see, it's from it's from Zendikar. So it was killing some of those lands in Standard, such as like Valakut, Emeria, those kind of lands, because there was a very good Valakut deck in Standard that ran like Primeval Titan and things like that. Also just kills like some of the man lands too, so if they're playing like a blue-white control list because Jace the Mind Sculptor and Stoneforge Mystic were legal, then you're going to go ahead and kill off one of those Celestial Colonnades, and it'll feel pretty good too. So decent little sideboard card there. 2 more copies of Into the Core that weren't with the other one, which seems kind of interesting. I would have thought that they would have had all of them together, but yep, 3 copies of Into the Core it looks like here. And then our final one is a rare, and it is Leyline of Punishment. So 4 mana for a rare enchantment. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. That's the text that all Leylines have. And then this one says players can't gain life, damage can't be prevented. So a good little $2 rare here in Leyline of Punishment here out of the sideboard. Again, just kind of a cool little trip back down memory lane for some people who used to play the old Standard format. Again, we can go ahead and open it up like this here, and we'll see what the 60 card main deck looked like for this Into the Breach deck here. Alright, so we're going to start off with a playset of Memnites. Memnite here is a 0 mana artifact, but he's a 1/1. So he sees play in modern affinity decks where he's great at turning on things like Mox Opal, Springleaf Drum, those sort of things. Just pretty good with Metalcraft, and is kind of well known for also going along with Ornithopter. Again, just another 0 mana artifact to help turn on, Metalcraft and things like that. So here we have a full playset of Ornithopter, full playset of Memnite. Very nice. Also, Memnite right now is like $1.50, $1.75. So again, decent little pickup monetary-wise as well. After that, we're looking at a full playset of Signal Pest, which is quite the good card as well. That was the card that we saw on the artwork for the sleeve here, the event deck sleeve. And then I think it was on the poster and things like that too. But Signal Pest, again, just a very, very solid, good card. Goes in modern affinity decks as well, is where it sees the most play. Has the battle cry mechanic, and then works very well with cards like Ornithopter, Memnite, dropping a bunch of just very cheap creatures out. Next up, we have 2 copies of Goblin Bushwhacker, which again works well if you're going to go ahead and go wide with some of these cheap artifact creatures. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. So a good little card here with the Goblin Bushwhacker. Also, not the cheapest common in the world right now. And then we get to the most expensive card in the deck. This is the main reason I picked this up, I'm not going to lie. It's cool going through it and getting, the nostalgia vibes and things like that, wishing that I was playing during this old Standard season. But once you guys see the price that I paid for it, it's hard to say no to 2 Goblin Guides. Goblin Guide, just basically a staple of all, mono-red decks in basically every format at this point. Was a staple of the red decks in Standard, it's a staple of the red decks in Modern, staple of the red decks in Legacy, and there's not really, red decks in Vintage, but if there was, Goblin Guide would be a good card for it. So very, very nice to pick up 2 Goblin Guides here. They're almost $20 a piece right now, probably around 17, 18, something like that. So again, 2 very solid pickups, grabbing 2 Goblin Guides here. Very, very nice. Next up, we're looking at a full set of a card that you Pauper players will certainly know, and that is called Dotha Rebirth. 1 mana as an additional cost to to cast Coldotha Rebirth, you sacrifice an artifact, which we've already seen a bunch of artifacts, the Memnites, Ornithopters, those sort of things. And then it says you put 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. So on turn 1, you could do something like maybe drop a Memnite, drop an Ornithopter, sacrifice the Ornithopter, create or use it to cast a Coldotha Rebirth, put 3 more tokens on the field, and suddenly you're looking at 4 power that you put on the board as early as turn 1. And then next turn you can follow it up with maybe a Goblin Bushwhacker, something like that, where you can kick the Goblin Bushwhacker, then give those creatures +1/+0 and haste, along with the Bushwhacker itself, and then suddenly you're swinging for like 10, I think is how math works. Yeah, 10. So pretty sweet little card here in Coldotha Rebirth. Definitely led to some very fast starts, and it does the same in the Coldotha Boros deck that you'll see sometimes show up in Pauper. Next up, we've got another rare here, the Spikeshot Elder. 1 red mana for a 1/1 here from Scars of Mirrodin. For 3 mana, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. Again, cool little card, nothing, too crazy. Been reprinted a couple of times. In Modern Masters 2015, it was reprinted. We've got 1 copy of Iron Mirror, kind of not a good card for this deck because you're trying to be very aggressive, so you're not really looking for mana ramp like the Iron Mirror will give you. This is more of the card that you're trying to look for here. We've got a full 4 copies of Goblin War Driver, which is, again, a very super aggressive card. Has the battle cry mechanic just like Signal Pest. So, again, favors you going wide, which, again, works well with those tokens you're creating with the Coldotha Rebirth. So, very nice there. And then we're looking at 2 copies of Darksteel Axe, little uncommon here from Scars of Mirrodin. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, not too bad. Then we have some Panic Spell Bombs here. This would be a good little card to sack to your Coldotha Rebirth, because if it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you can pay a red if you do draw a card. So 2 mana to make 3 goblins and draw a card seems pretty solid to me if you're sacking the Panic Spell Bomb. So again, pretty solid there for those. Next up, we have 2 more rares. We've got some Devastating Summons here for red and sorcery. As an additional cost to cast it, you sacrifice X lands, but then you get to put 2 XX red elemental creature tokens onto the battlefield. Sometimes these play in like modern super aggressive red decks where you're hoping to just kind of like sack 3 lands, make 3 3/3s, and maybe get to cast a kicked Goblin Bushwhacker to go along with it, where you're giving those, +1/+0 in haste, and then suddenly you're swinging for 12 with the Bushwhacker and the 2 creatures. So pretty good little rare there in Devastating Summons. I don't think it's too expensive, maybe $1 or 2. Next up, we have 2 copies of Galvanic Blast. Again, another staple for the modern Affinity decks and for Pauper, Coldotha Boros and Affinity decks as well. Good little burn spell here. 1 red mana for 4 damage if you have Metalcraft active can definitely be a lot. And to go along with the burn suite there, we also have a full playset of Lightning Bolts, which it's never bad to have an extra playset of Lightning Bolts. I think this is probably like my 3rd or 4th playset of Lightning Bolts, but again, like I said, never a bad thing to have that many Lightning Bolts because it's a very sought after card, very, very good card as well. So some Lightning Bolts. Then we're on to the lands. We've got a 1 rare land here, which is the Contested War Zone. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, that creature's controller gains control of Contested War Zone, and then it taps and adds for 1. And then you can pay 1, tap it, attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn. So again, works very well if you're going wide. You can activate this one to give your opponents you can activate this one to give your attacking creatures a nice little buff here. Of course, if your opponents do end up doing some damage to you, some combat damage, they end up getting control of the Contested War Zone, but you can go ahead and just take it right back from them by dealing some damage. So, good little rare land here with the Contested War Zone. Again, not very expensive, doesn't really see a ton of play. And then, oops, I just dropped a couple of them over here. And then it looks like we're just going to round it out here with quite a few mountains. And that is your event deck here from Mirrodin Besieged, the Into the Breach event deck. Very, very cool going down. A nice little piece of Magic's history here. Had a lot of fun opening it. And then, of course, it's hard to say no to some of the value we opened up here out of the playset of the Lightning Bolts. And most importantly, the 2 Goblin Guides here from Zendikar, which again are like $15 to $17 a piece. Somewhere in that range. So had a lot of fun opening this up. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, be sure to leave a like on the video. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the eBay listing. So give me 1 second. I'll bring up the eBay listing, and I'll see you guys here in just a second. Alright, so here you guys can see the eBay listing. You can see Mirrored and Besieged Event Deck, Into the Breach new. You can, or actually we'll click the See Original Listing one. That'll probably, oh, it just shows that I won the auction. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's kind of what I was looking for here. So yeah, just one little picture here of the event deck. You can see kind of like the ripple there, so you know it's still in the plastic that it's in, you know, near mint condition. If we scroll down here to this, you can see Into the Breach new, condition is new, shipped with USPS first class package, so again, pretty nice. Knowing that it's in good condition. I ended up getting it for $15 plus the winning bid, or plus the shipping of $4.81. Again, I had another one of those $5 off coupons here, so it ended up being about $14.81 for this this Mirrored and Besieged event deck. And then again, we're talking about a playset of lightning bolts, 2 goblin guides, and then just some other, you know, popper cards like Goblin Bushwhacker, the Cold Oath of Rebirths, the they're not pauper legal, but the Mem Knights and the Signal Pest, people will want to get their hands on those. So again, another decent little purchase here that I got for pretty cheap, because if we go to, let's go ahead to MTG Goldfish here, and we'll take a look at the Into the Breach. You can see they are about $60 here, like brand new out of the package. They're about $60 here. You can see about $83 worth of cards. The 2 Goblin Guides come to around $40. Mem Knights at around $6.64. The playset of Lightning Bolts, $11.40. The Searing Blazes out of the sideboard were another $6 here for the playset. So again, pretty sweet little pickups here. I'm very happy with it. Paying, you know, $15 for $84 worth of cards, pretty decent little pickup. So again, very happy with it, and you guys can see this here. This is one of those ones where I was kind of scrolling through the Magic stuff that was about to end. You can see the ending was going to happen at 11:59 p.m. here, so I put in my bid with about 30 seconds left to go. I just put in the minimum bid of $15 on this one. That was his or her starting price, and so I ended up winning it for the $15, and then again used one of those $5 off coupons for a total of $14.81 for this Mirrored and Besieged Into the Breach event deck. So again, now this is the end of the video, so hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, be sure to let me know with a like on this video, as well as a comment. Let me know if you guys had ever seen a Mirrored and Besieged event deck opened up before, or at least even knew that they were a thing back then as well. Be sure to let me know. So again, thank you all so much for watching the video. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys here next time. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, where we went over this Mirrored and Besieged event deck that I picked up for a cheap price on eBay. At the end of each of my videos, I love to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon supporters over on the Patreon page. For some of the Patreon supporters that you're seeing here, this will be the last time that their names are showing up on the thing, unfortunately, but I am still very happy that they were patrons for while it lasted. But anyway, at the end, I would love to give a huge shout out and thank you here to Jeremy, Rodrigo, Jason, Daniel, BattleFMTG, Down Under MTG, and Jayathy Swarin. Again, like I said, I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys here next time.